Alright, I'm doing a little show and tell here. I finally got this book on the chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the secret history of the 60s. So somebody told me that I definitely need to read this book, even though I had reviewed it based on the YouTube interviews with the author Tom O'Neill. And he spent 20 years researching and writing the book, so I figured I can get the book. And he said, just the references in the back make up for the difference between the audiobook, because I guess a lot of people are in audiobooks. And you can see there's a huge reference section here. There's got to be like 100 pages just in references. It is very impressive. So I applaud Tom O'Neill on this, and I'm gonna look forward to reading that. And then along similar lines, finally today I got the final volume of Nazi Psychoanalysis. And I remember when this was first published, I saw it in my university library, and it's published by University of Minnesota Press, which is the library I was at. I was at Walter Library, and so there's 3 volumes of Nazi Psychoanalysis. The second one, volume 3, Sci-Fi. Volume 1 is, what does this say? Get some light on that. Psychoanalysis Won the War. Volume 1. And Volume 2. There you go. Crypto Fetishism, this came out before cryptocurrency, so it should be interesting. Okay, and then, so that Nazi, considering the CIA was formed out of the Nazis, this will definitely tie in. The Nazi psychoanalysis is basically how the Nazis relied on Freudian analysis, even though they're anti-Semitic, obviously. So that's sort of ironic. And then I had order this book from Ireland, and this is how the CIA white paper on El Salvador and the communist control of the revolution in El Salvador was a whole scam. This Philip Agee was a former CIA officer. So he goes through the CIA white paper and exposes all the lies and the propaganda. And so, considering the U.S. spent $3 billion and some 50,000 people were killed, 90% of them the peasants and indigenous poor people of El Salvador, who were supposedly the communists that needed to be killed. And of course the Nazis that the CIA brought over, they helped train the El Salvador military through the Bolivia and Argentina. The Nazis that moved to Argentina and Bolivia, they went over to El Salvador. And that was just in the book I just read called Neptune, about the CIA with the Nazis in Ireland, in Europe. And this one's a little less political. This is just a linguistic book that I just happened to notice on somebody's bookshelf. And they had a lot of Chomsky books, and then I saw this book, and I guess it's just a fascinating analysis of the just the connections between languages. And for example, like if you learn any Romance language that's Latin based, there's certain tricks essentially, and if you know those tricks, and it's a lot, you can learn several languages at the same time, and it's actually faster to learn more than one language at the same time if you know these structural tricks of the languages. And that's the basic message of this book. And I'm not really interested in learning other languages, but I thought, it'd just be kind of fun to, it'd be fascinating to learn these secret linguistic history, the etymology of, and I'm sure it's not just European languages. Like it's a lot of it's like German and English and the connection with the Latin languages and stuff, but I'm sure they get into other stuff. So the final book is one that was recommended by Noam Chomsky, and this is a very detailed, concrete analysis of how the Bolsheviks destroyed the economic democracy revolution in Russia by the workers' councils that were more anarchists than they were communist. And this is essentially how the Bolsheviks became a authoritarian political elite, sort of like a priesthood, as it were. And of course, the Bolsheviks, they relied on Western investment through Wall Street. As a book, I just read a book called Wall Street and the Russian Revolution that I had already reviewed. So this is sort of the behind the scenes, what Zizek calls the vanishing mediator, meaning the anarchists. As far the worker democracy was the real thrust of the revolution, but then the Bolsheviks decided, it has to be a top-down elite military control over the workers. And so that sort of, then they literally just destroyed the anarchists that way. And so that's what this book is gonna, explain in detail. And obviously there's a certain segment of the so-called left that's very pro communist and therefore pro Soviet in whatever aspect. Maybe they're Trotskyite, or maybe they're Stalin, or maybe they're Lenin. Most of them are pro-Lenin. So Chomsky, this book really exposes the lie that Lenin was some kind of real revolutionary. In fact, he was against the economic democracy that had already been taking place via these workers' councils. And so that's what this book is going to document in great detail. So obviously that's a real murky moment in history. So that'll be fun just to get that backstory information that otherwise you're not going to get. And this book I had to special, it's not a very common book, obviously. I can't remember where I got it from, but so you're not going to see this book. I've never seen it before. I've never heard about it. So, Morris Burnton. So in case anybody wants to order it, that's what the book is. And so obviously I got tons of books to read, and just for fun, And in a way you can relate to everything if you want, but so I've ordered over 100 books in the past several months. So I just have stacks of books, a lot on quantum mechanics and different physics stuff and paranormal and conspiracy. So this is just the latest books I got in the past couple days. And so I look forward to just kicking back and digging in. And that's what I'll be doing if I'm not meditating or doing work and outdoors. Working on the grass, the lawn here. Since it's summer, spring and summertime and the fall, that's what I do. I volunteer on the grass. And then I grow mushrooms for food as my business. So, thanks a lot.